Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the HooToo TripMate Elite. Have you ever had something that you use pretty regularly to the point where you forget that it's something that you need to actually review or to tell other people about? Well, sadly, that is the case of the HooToo TripMate Elite here. I have in the past reviewed over there HooToo TripMate Titan, but I gave that to somebody and they kind of kept it and I didn't get it back. So I went out and I purchased the HooToo TripMate Elite. It has been a godsend and I'll explain why. The problem is, and why I say I waited a bit too long, is it is difficult to find the TripMate Elite here anymore. They're kind of moving off to a different form factor. They still do sell the TripMate Titan, but the TripMate Elite sadly is a little harder to come by. And I'm going to talk about the pluses and minuses of the Elite here versus the Titan versus what they've kind of replaced this with. But what you are looking at is a device that is 3.2 inches long, 3.2 inches wide because it is a square, and has a depth of 1.4 inches. Now, as you can see, it is very glossy on the front and on the back here. It picks up fingerprints and scratches, but that's not terrible. It also gives you a little information there as to what it is. Battery capacity, which I will be talking about shortly. On the bottom there, you can see some ports. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And on top, there is nothing. There is a single power / indicator button here on, we're going to call that the left. A quick tap will show you how much battery is left in the device. So it has a 6,000 milliamp battery, and depending on usage is how long that lasts. Can't give you a definitive answer. It all depends on what you're using it for. If you press and hold this button, it will activate its Wi-Fi. Now, that is because the TripMate Elite here is a Swiss Army knife for travelers, and everybody should have something like this with them when they travel. What do I mean? Well, it's a battery backup because those ports on the bottom here allow you to charge two devices at once. Maximum output of the upper one is 1 amp and the bottom one is 1 amp or 2.1 amps. So battery backup, 6,000 milliamp battery backup. It also can act as a wireless bridge, or an access point, or a Wi-Fi router, or a Wi-Fi extender, or a file hub. Yes, it does all of these things. So coming back to the ports here, notice it does have a Ethernet port. This Ethernet port will allow you to plug in directly to Ethernet cable and use this as a Wi-Fi router. So hypothetically, when you go to a hotel and they either do not offer free Wi-Fi or they only allow you to have free wired internet, or they charge you per device, well, plug in your Ethernet back there, turn this on, you have your own Wi-Fi router and you pay for one connection. It can also act as an extender by accessing your wireless connection. You can then place this further along in your house and kind of extend your Wi-Fi if you're having a problem with that. Not great speeds when you do that, but we'll talk about that a little later. Also acts as a access point / file hub. So not having this connected to Wi-Fi, just turning it on, will allow you to plug a USB right up there, either USB stick or a hard drive, and access movies, music, files wirelessly through the HooToo Elite here. Gotta love that. Also, if you are using this as a file hub, you can also charge at the same time. So there's a little reset button there. I gotta use a push pin for it. Coming back to the side that has the power button, if we press and hold, this is how you power the device on. You will watch the white light slowly go up, and then it flashes green quickly and then blue once it is transmitting. Now, doing that in reverse, and there it is trying to access my network because I do have it acting as a bridge as well. So once that happens, it will show green, but I don't necessarily know if I'm going to make you sit through that. Oh, there we go. Pressing and holding, it will show you those LEDs in reverse. And there you go, green and off. So 6,000 milliamp battery. How long does that take to charge? Well, it takes between 4.5 hours to 5 hours with, and this is the big reason I like this a little more than I liked the Titan, this side has a built-in wall connection. Now with the Titan, you needed a cable and you needed a wall adapter. This has one built in. That is why I like this over the Titan, even though the Titan has a much larger internal battery. Now, with this, you are looking at a device that will be transmitting in 2.4 gigahertz only, so you're not going to be getting 5 gigahertz out of this. It's not terrible. Remember, you're not trying to do crazy things with this. But if you are looking for speeds and range, I tested it either sitting right next to it. I'll put some things up on the screen now. Signal strength, right next to it, really good. Going all the way into my back bedroom, past a electrical box, past a couple doors. The signal didn't degrade as much as I thought it would. Connection speed is where it hurt. In my bedroom, I was looking at like 11 megabytes down through this while using my standard 2.4, because I made sure to check 2.4 gigahertz ASUS router. I was getting 57.1 down. Sitting right next to it, you're looking at 14.3 down versus my ASUS router, which was giving me 68 down on, again, 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. So I did mention that you can watch videos, you can look at media. Let me show you how you do that through the app. All right, so here is a look at the TripMate application. I currently have a hard drive plugged into it. So like I said before, it can accept a actual spinning hard disk external hard drive. Now, this is the newer version of the application. The older version of the application kind of gives you a warning message, but is still actually accessible if you wanted to use it. Now, the newer application kind of starts showing you videos, photos, music. These are things that it figures you want to go into. Now, sadly, if I click on this, it's going to show you that there's nothing in there. That's one of the problems that I found with this particular app. Because it's looking for specific things that are listed as those items, it doesn't always pick them up. So that's a little problematic. Now, if I were to go into music and then go local, because you can switch between local and whatever's plugged into your TripMate there, you can see I have all of these audio files and I could put hearts next to them if I wanted to. Could show me my top 25, and then if I had any favorites, it could show me there. Also, you have these boxes up here. You can click on that, and this will allow you to change some of the look and feel of the application. But realistically, you're not going to be looking into that all that much. You're really doing this so that you can access your data. So if you come over to File and Folders, it will show you here is my single drive that is connected, and if we come down, we're going to go look for my YouTube videos. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It is on the local. So we're going to move it over to the TripMate. Now we're going to go look for my YouTube videos because this is the video backup. This is the hard drive that I use for my video backups. And giving you a little sneak peek of the secret sauce behind the scenes here. So let's go and do crossbars that I did for my Forester. So I was in here playing around before, so if we hit OK, it will resume based on where I left off. Now, it does buffer a little bit, and I found that with a spinning hard drive, it buffers a bit more than it would with an actual SSD or flash drive. Now, I will say that this is a full 1080, 60 frames a second video. If it was smaller, it would be able to buffer much faster. And should be getting there just about now because it's normally about 4 to 5% that it starts to play it. Don't make a liar out of me. All right, so there you go. It's doing the playback. It is doing audio as well. You just can't hear it because I have the lapel mic on. But like I said, this is a full 1080 video playing back over the HooToo device. Now, if you wanted to, like I said, you plug in a flash drive, it will do it much faster. Now, unlike the other HooToo application, it has a standard video player as part of the application, so you don't actually have to go and send the video out to VLC or something of that nature. So aside from the file folder here, the other thing that you're going to be looking at is this, the system settings. And it does do that weird tilt. I'm not sure why it does it, but it does. It's not something to worry about. Here you have your TripMate settings. Clicking on this will allow you to adjust your Wi-Fi settings. So coming here, it will show you the SSID for your TripMate. It will show you what channel it's currently on, the mode it's in, and the security. So if you wanted to change your channel, you can just come up here and select whatever channel you wanted. So after Wi-Fi setting, you have LAN settings. You can click in there. It'll show you. Clicking on LAN settings shows you some information that I won't be showing you, but it's there. Internet settings, clicking on that, again, will show you internet settings. You can configure your network settings. You can also, this is how you can join a network, so you can either use it as a bridge or a network extender. And then you have system settings, which will allow you to change your users, change the host name, disk information, which is whatever's plugged into it, and then firmware upgrade. You always want to make sure that your firmware is most up to date. And currently I am most up to date. Here you have extra information, most of which you don't really need to play with. It's just the TripMate settings up there. You can also log out of your TripMate directly from here rather than just dropping your Wi-Fi connection. So that was a look at the TripMate application for your Android phone. It does have a web UI as well, but it does have a lot of the same similarities that this does. You can set up your TripMate either using the application or the web UI. Now notice up here, I did mention, forget this, you will notice that it will show you the power level of your TripMate, as well as if you are connected to the internet. So you can use it as a bridge. Now the beauty of the connected ports there, this will work with either a hard drive or a flash-based system. Now, one of the things I did not mention was that you can only be streaming to 5 devices at a time, but for most families, that's going to be enough for a long car trip. The other thing that I did not show is the default password, which one, you definitely should change to get onto the HooToo via the Wi-Fi, is 8 number ones. There is no admin password set up for the interface. Change that. You really need to change that. The maximum hard drive that this will be able to understand and accept is a 4 terabyte hard drive. Now, the plug and your outputs. It does support pass-through, so you can charge this at the same time you are using it or trying to charge another device, because again, those act as charging ports, which you can do both at the same time. Like I said, sadly, the HooToo Elite here is a little harder to find than it was when I first got it to replace the Titan. If you can find it, you're looking to be spending about $43 is what I'm going to call a good price for this. And again, the Titan has a larger battery pack, which I like. What they replaced the Elite with is a smaller thing that you need to plug in to have it work. Now, there are benefits to that, I understand, because all the marketing for it is like, oh, you can plug in a battery pack to it and you can put it anywhere. Yeah, that's great, but that's another cable that I have to remember, another battery that I have to worry about. With this, as long as it was fully charged, I can put it wherever I wanted to and just turn it on and use it. Or I could plug it in and not have to have any extra cables and use it that way. So there are some reasons why I really wish that this was a little easier to find and they didn't replace it with something that you just have to plug in to make it work. But if you can find the HooToo TripMate Elite here for $43, I highly suggest adding it to your toolbox, especially if you travel a lot and you are a heavy internet user, creator, whatever you want to call it. Something like this is invaluable, and one that doesn't require you to have it plugged in is even more valuable in my opinion. So I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.